Welcome to Sora Spotlights, where we highlight some of the incredible advisors who are using Sora and delivering tremendous value to their clients. As always, you can reach out to advisors highlighted in this interview directly if you're looking to drive growth in your own personal finances. We're joined today by Michelle Gordon. Michelle is the founder and CEO of Investably. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's wonderful to have you on. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your firm, Investably. How did you get started?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have over 16 years of experience in the financial space, mostly working in asset management and corporate. Stevie Award winner. I left to start my own private practice, a boutique practice, because I just wanted to work with clients in a more deeper level. And I kept hearing the message of people feeling unheard and unseen or wanting more of a holistic approach. So I started my practice to deliver exactly that.
Wonderful. Tell me a little bit more about holistic and what that means to you. It feels like there's been a little bit of a trend towards that away from just managing assets. What was it about holistic planning and advice that attracted you?
Yeah, well, I think it's really just my concept. There's a great quote that I love, which is essentially money makes a terrible master, but a great servant. And I think it aligns with me in the sense that I like myself personally and the clients I work with, we understand that the goal in life isn't, it's money. It's really those moments, those memories, the time with our loved ones. So when I think of money, I'm working with clients in terms of we're going a lot further than just, oh, this is how it should be. These are the investments that should be allocated in. We are really starting from a financial planning perspective. And what we're looking at is what are your goals, what are your values, your visions? And then where are you right now? And what's the gap from where you are to where you want to be? And once we figure those answers, then we will align the investments to make sure it's lining up to get you to where you need to be. But more importantly, it matches your values, your goals, the lifestyle that you want. So for me, holistic is really looking at all those different facets of that big picture, that big financial piece. So including debt, including retirement, including even health in terms of, does one make sense for you? Do you expect to have a longer longevity or a shorter longevity? And then let's plan accordingly. So it's really looking at so many other facets, not just the money piece. The money piece, the investments is just one part of the pie.
That's wonderful. Well, that
Yeah.
already feels quite a bit differentiated from so many other advisors out there who do just focus on assets and perhaps assets alone. When you think about differentiating your practice, is that really what you lead with, the financial planning? Are there other parts of your practice that you feel are differentiated, or is it a specific type of client that you like to work with, and that's part of your differentiation here as well?
It's a couple of things. My firm is one of the very few in the country that's a Latina owned registered investment advisory firm. Less than, I think the recent stats was 1.4% in the country of asset management firms are owned by a minority or a women owned firm. So that's clearly one. But two, it's while I'm in my own boutique practice firm, I do have the support with amazing partnerships and institutions that I work with that really comes and fill in all of the aspects that my client needs. So the different custodians. I have an incredible team that I work with for business valuations. I have an incredible team I work with for employee retirement plans. So there's and plugged in with different asset managers as well. BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, all the big ones. So I I really serve here to be the the guide and for someone's journey and walking them through everything and the key relationship with a fiduciary responsibility. So many times I find myself having to explain that because it's the first time they're hearing about it. And a fiduciary is someone who, by law, needs to act in your best interest. So I'm working a lot of times with what I find is clients that either have never really worked before at all with a specialist, or maybe they did, but it was a broker and it's really the first time into working with a fiduciary. So kind of seeing the differences there. So we're really providing advice. We're not really pushing products, if that makes sense. So you're really coming to me to be your key person for all of life situations, and more specifically proactive tax planning, because that's a key part. So we talk about the big picture and the holistic approach. It's not just about what you make, what you keep is just as important.
Mhm. That's wonderful. Just so I know and viewers know, acting as a
Mhm.
fiduciary means that your practice does better when your clients do better versus your practice does better when you sell more financial products to your clients, regardless of how their finances work. Is that kind of the right way to think about that?
That, yeah, that's one way. And then the other way I like to think about it is the clients are my boss. There's no one that's saying, oh, for example, we're not taking commission. And there's no one saying, okay, this is this hot new product in the market. Let's try to get 100 people into it. No, you're coming to me because I solve problems and I help you figure out the best approach for complex situations, and really just being that trusted advisor year in, year out that is working for you. That's who pays me, the client. Just the same way, let's say you have a retainer with your attorney, or you go to your doctor and your doctor has a Hippocratic oath. I have the fiduciary standard of practice for my clients and the confidentiality.
Wonderful. Maybe on that same related note of thinking of
Yeah.
yourself as a fiduciary and doing what's right for your clients, whether on the
Yeah.
asset side or other parts of their financial life, curious if you could talk a little bit about the importance of incorporating liability planning and debt management into your practice.
No, it's huge. And again, it fits into that holistic approach. So I think about it this way. You have many individuals in this country who are loaded with student loans, whether it's for grad school, medical school, or any situation, or have, business loans, or they have, consumer loans or debt. How can we effectively plan for your wealth journey to get, let's say, a target of 9%, 8%, 7% a year consistently? And then on the flip side, 20%, 25% is going to that. That doesn't make sense. So we really need to address all of the components of your financial life, and debt for many people, that's a big component. So I work with a lot of women led households, a lot of minorities as well. And those are the two groups that are leading in, for example, student loan debt. They're leading in mortgages, home mortgages. They're leading in other types of consumer debt as well, for a number of reasons, right? They're the historic wealth gap, for example, is a big part of that. So when we're working together, we're looking at everything, because I'm trying to focus on helping you get to the wealth that you want to build, not just for yourself, but for your family. So versus, and maybe this is where the fiduciary comes in, if I was someone who's basically getting paid to sell you something, but then I'm not looking at any of those other factors, and that's a detriment to you. Because let's solve for the things that take out a big chunk of your monthly cash flow. We can work with that. And Sora has been great for me for that. We've been able to use the liability analyzer for our clients and show, okay, if you're paying X amount, maybe these are ways that we can reduce that, or these are some of the options. And if we can save 3% or 4%, not only is that monthly cash flow coming back to you, but then whether we take that and invest it in something that produces, let's say, monthly or quarterly dividends for you, how can we speed up the wealth journey for you and your family if we can factor in liability into that analysis?
That's wonderful. That's great. And I think speak very much to the heart here in terms of what we do at Sora and how we try to
Yeah.
support advisors and supporting clients. I'm curious, in your experience of working with Sora, Are there any particular parts of it that you've really loved, whether it's the seamless
Yes.
onboarding of client liabilities or the always on monitoring that we do, or perhaps the analysis that we bake in? Are there any pieces that really resonate with you in your practice?
Well, yeah, a couple of things. So I'm huge about user experience. So client experience, user experience, I geek out on that. So the client onboarding has been very seamless, which is great. And then from my perspective, for me, it's always about the conversation with the clients and their understanding. So the insights and the visual and the deliverable that we can provide to clients inform an insightful conversation so they can make a better decision. That's everything. Because what's the point of me saying, oh, this is a couple of better ways to go if it doesn't make sense for them? It's all about making practical, informed decisions. But more importantly, one of the things I love with my clients is my approach is never to say, oh, this is what you should do. I always love educating because I find seeing that aha bubble, bubble turn on, there's a certain empowerment that they get when they can understand and they can see. I'll guide you and I'm showing you the roadmap in the big picture, but when they can see it, that's everything. That's everything. And so the sense of ownership, the sense of being intentional, that's everything.
I love that.
Yeah.
Michelle, last question as we're reaching time here.
Yes.
You're kicking off a 4-week masterclass on financial
Yeah.
vitals, which sounds absolutely incredible. Tell us a little bit more about that. Why are you doing it and who is it for?
Thank you. Great question. Well, because most of the clients I work with tend to have either very high income households or they've already built up a certain amount of assets. I can't extend myself a million different ways, but I don't want to leave people behind because I think financial knowledge and financial empowerment is critical. And looking at what people in this country will be facing in the next 20, 30 years. I mean, I think recent stats right now was that over 60% of people are not prepared for retirement in the next 10, 20 years. And I would feel like I am not doing my part if I have knowledge and I can share that to try to make an impact. So, yes, I came up with a 4-week masterclass. It's focused on financial vitals. And it's open to everyone. Typically, it's going to be people who already have a good income, so they have something we're working with. Um, but the focus is it's very practical. It's going to be hands-on, insightful, and they're actually going to walk away with concrete information that's personalized to them. And we will have a once a week live cohort session. And that's more so for me to provide more knowledge and education and information and be a resource. And then we'll have a one-on-one with each person. But yeah,
Wonderful.
that's kicking off. The last day to register is October 22nd. And the on-demand starts October 23rd. And then there's 4 cohorts. And I set it up to basically try to make it available and accessible for as many people as possible.
That's great. And is this just a kind of learning opportunity for someone to come in and read about personal finance, or is it an opportunity for someone to actually start to go through their own finances and actually start to take
Correct.
some actions here?
Yeah, correct. So this is not a common and there's a couple of materials and you read and you go home. No, it's this I'm designed it to be very practical, very hands-on. And in fact, we're actually going to use the liability analyzer. So I'm going to kick it off to everyone individually, and they will have things that they do on their own. And I'm using some of the same technology I use for my high net worth clients. I'm going to be using it in the masterclass. It's my way to be able to help and make an impact as many people as they can, so they can walk away with a personalized action plan based on both the tools we're going to use and the information and the knowledge that I'm going to share with them.
Michelle, that sounds so powerful. I'm really, really excited for you and for the
Thank you.
participants in that course. And of course, we're thrilled that you're using Sora's liability analyzer as a part of that as well. if you're listening out there and you're interested in chatting with Michelle or learning more, reach out to her. Check out investably.com, investably.com, and you can reach out to Michelle Gordon there to learn a bit more. Michelle, thank you so much for coming on the Sora Spotlight. It's been a pleasure to chat with you.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure. And you guys have been just critical for my practice. So thank you.
Thank you.